The patient has the capacity to decide for themselves. The patient should not be violated in terms of their rights. And so in so doing, it is very, very important that the patient should be asked consent. And when we talk about consent, it should be an informed consent. Based on the premise that the patient has been informed of what the ability will be, and based on the premise that we are going to ask for consent, are you going to give us a consent that we will put your picture in the Facebook, given if your name, your picture is not there? It is very important that we should respect their autonomy.
So, in the light of the case, let's talk about the case, the observation. Do you consider those two photos a violation of patient privacy and confidentiality? And from your experience, have you seen photos in nature? And could you describe what are those photos? Before I answer this question, I think that it's important that we put into context these types of posting. These are not limited to, like, for example, in the OR, these are not limited to the doctor, they have their professional, but everyone else, even up to the point that OR utilities are asked to picture on their personal goals, etc. So I want to emphasize this concept because it's not limited only to the doctor, to whoever. Remember, in any surgery, when you manage a patient, and especially surgery, it's a team approach. So everyone is involved in the care of the patient. And I'd like to anchor that again based on the case. On the premise that again, the patient that is trusted the two words, privacy, confidentiality, to the whole ORT. That means, by reason or by logical reason, and by definition or by what we understand by confidentiality and privacy, although they're similar, almost similar, but they have different concepts. The trust there, when you're directly involved with the care of the patient or indirectly regarding it should not, because we have the power, it should not go to whoever is not involved with the management, directly or indirectly with the patient. If you do that, you need to have a consent, a very explicit consent. So again, you have the power, because you have the power to do that. The patient has the time in the table. Second, you need to get the consent. If that two things are not met, basically, that's not a good thing to actually start. And I don't know, legally, for the evolution of the management, we answered by attorney. I think it's also legally valuable. Okay. So yung important context natin para the privacy and confidentiality is always anchored with the trust that is given by the patient to the care team that management. That's why everything that goes in the OR should not go out to anyone who is not involved in the management of the patient. So essentially, whatever the form is, whether it's social media, the cellular phone, it reaches the concept trust that is given. That's identical, and of course, probably will be unlawful in the future, or probably whether there will be applicable laws. We have a lot of students here. I think most in this room are students. Could we compare this picture in the OR to like students taking pictures in, for example, psychiatric ward with the patients in the background, or those who have their vision with violations faith, with the faith being exposed. Is that a violation of Christian confidentiality and privacy also?
I think in this case, it seems like they are de-identified, right? It seems like because they are not changed.
But some are really with some with the faith really deep.
It's always a breach of confidentiality if you don't ask their permission. You have to give every right to the patient. Remember, you might just be making use of the faith for valid reasons. You want to show off? That's one aspect. You want to make a humorous anecdote about it? That's another aspect. You want to run to vent your frustration? You just via the picture? That's one aspect. But remember, we're dealing with a human, using a human body, a human person, with a dignity. And that person is entitled for respect. And so it is still very unethical, especially if your intentions are not very sincere, if your intentions are marked with some other unscrupulous intention. We will always put the best interest of the patient, not your own selfish interest.
How about if the faith is not shown, or it's just a statement, pastor's statement, then you can see it, and then it was posted in Facebook. What are your thoughts, attorney? Let me have a discussion. The first one is referring to a certain post there is a photo that was posted on the new one. You might say, well, actually, the patient is not verified, it's not a photo, but sometimes you just don't know. It can be traced and it can be identified. You might not be aware that there is what we call as metadata. The data is not really there, but it can be traced. Like, for example, we know exactly where you're working. We probably put it in a Facebook in some of your accounts, and then we know exactly what time you have taken that photo, because that time is posted. And we don't know exactly that it is there. So basically, we can identify the patient, even if without the face. So basically, what happens there is this really a breach, because we can identify the patient, regardless whether or not the photo shows the face. So you have to be very careful with that. Metadata. Sometimes this is also applicable in your daily life. Sometimes it's so very private, but for all you know, this is just an example, not necessarily true. For all you know, Apple, for example, really knows your lifestyle. Apple knows what you are buying, for example. Apple knows because you're using your credit card. Your credit card is actually attached to your Apple ID, right? So Apple can now look into your purchases and then would know your helpful results from your purchases. Probably, for example, you purchase it online, and some messages are exclusive for that kind of condition. So basically, Apple knows when Apple is not a home provider. Are they liable to, or rather, are they using Apple for the confidentiality, knowing the fact that they're not health provider? You have to be very careful with metadata. Lawyers have their way of, pinning you down because it can be identified. Okay, so it's not just that on the face value you say that it's not identified. So that's why it is very important now to distinguish between what is privacy and what is confidentiality. Because for all the patient enjoys the right of privacy. So are you, right? Because your patient is also private. Okay? So you enjoy privacy, the patient enjoys privacy. What about confidentiality? The patient enjoys the right of confidentiality. But for health providers, health practitioners, they are obliged. They need not to right, but rather than duty. So where is that duty coming from? It's just coming from the Constitution. But to be very careful about it, it's not from your own. So that's why if you reach that, it's the breach of your own. So that's why your life is taken away from you. This is a breach of the democratic oath. So in the legal standpoint, then a patient complains and a patient to you for a violation and this, like, we have laws that protect patients from this is a violation of patient privacy and confidentiality. Yeah, the very basic law of the Philippines, and talking about the 1987 Constitution, actually guarantees that right. You can find that in Article 3, Section 3, Paragraph 1. It says there that the privacy of communication and correspondence is inviolable with certain exceptions, of course. What I mean exceptions? First, of course, is the public order, or there is an order from the court. So that's why, for example, you'll be asked by the court to testify, and there is an order. The court is okay to divulge the secret. Okay, that's privileged communication. We call that privileged communication. Second is that if there is public safety and public order that is involved, however, that should be in the form of a law. Okay, so that's an example. HIV. There are some certain disclosures that is required by certain facilities and doctors to report to the central office, for example, about cases of HIV. This is a matter of national interest. This is a matter of public safety. So that's why there is reporting. And there is a law. So in that sense, we have already complied with the requirements of the Constitution. And I'll add up one more that is in the form of a waiver. But be sure, for example, that the waiver is valid. Article 6 of the revised, or rather the new civil code of the Philippines requires certain forms of waivers. Like, for example, you said a while ago that there is a certain situation going on, and then you took a photo of that child in certain place. Obviously, the gentleman gave a valid waiver. Right? So, you can never say, well, the child is okay, in fact, because with me, but we need a parent contract for that. So, in order for you to say that there is actually a valid waiver coming from the patient. There you go. There are not only in Facebook, circumcised children that are free, and with all the fun parts, all glory. Anyway, sometimes it does no harm. No? If I am a lawyer, for example, I would say, well, anyway, you're not identified, there's no damage done to you, so maybe you cannot be, because it all boils down to one thing. You wanted reparation for the damages, right? You always wanted money. You wanted the cash, no? But the thing sometimes that you incur no damage. No? What the injury? This is a photo anyway. It's an innocuous photo. It's a very innocent photo. That's okay. However, okay, that is the legal point of view. It's really no damage. But however, for the public, okay, what will happen to your practice, for example, if the public would be discouraged to disclose certain information? What will happen to your diagnosis? Will you think there would still be safe and quality cure that will be given to a person who rather choose to withhold certain information because of fear that if, for example, you disclose that information, it will be revealed to the public. And another thing, there are also certain penal provisions about disclosing secrets. You can find that in the revised penal code, that disclosure of secrets. Also, it is only with respect to public officers. We can push that forward. We can say that doctors are also actually public officers because they have taken that over. We're talking about law. I'm just curious, has someone been sued because of this? Is there a case related to that, the posting of patient picture without the permission? Well, you know what? It is a sad reality that because of technology, or the technology outpaces our law. Technology is running so fast, there has been a lot of improvement and a lot of things going on in the internet and social media, but our laws are quite stagnant and sometimes they lack fun in terms of implementation. But let me tell you that there is already a case that involves Facebook, and that is not very far from Google. This is just future challenge case, it reaches to the Supreme Court already, regardless versus future challenge. There was a question whether or not, because, in this case, although this is not related to medical practice, this case talks about the privacy, the expectancy of privacy to post a photo in Facebook because the children, the students claim that, we posted that photo and only friends can view. This is what I'm telling you now that also that the health providers also have this privacy to expect. Diba? Ako ka man kasi ang patient. Diba? No man kasi ako ka man what is ang imong mga friends, puro mga doctors, or also in that operation, diba? So, but the court said, the Supreme Court said that yeah, there is somehow some kind of a right or expectancy that your phones are somehow protected. But take note, okay, although what's wrong with these students is they were not able to set their privacy settings at Facebook. Okay, they said that only friends because imagine it was this process called in Facebook called friendly, you can only communicate with friends. But take note, even if that is the process, there is what we call as mga Facebook privacy policy. There's friend on friend, you know that, okay? I think that's an example. Okay. But what we did is, we're not going to leak the privacy. So it's going to be used by everyone. And this time, the point is, at this time, it doesn't mean that even if you set your settings to friends only, your friends can show it to other friends. Right? So this is exactly what happened to that thing. The student, the classmate saw it and then show it to the teacher. Right? And then the teacher, okay, let's make a policy. So that's why the case will run. So in other words, what I can say is that Facebook basically is in contrast with your right of privacy. You go to Facebook to socialize, and then now you click on this second case, like, it's in relation to what you said about friends. And it was discussed briefly in the first plenary one, okay? It's entitled, who Facebook friends? Like, a patient, for example, you see a notification. There's a notification to a friend that you recognize it, and it came from a patient. And it's not your friend, it's not your relative, it's just a patient. So I would like to ask the first question to Dr. Mondo. Because a while ago we also have other maybe your view maybe the same or different, I don't know, but if a patient requests you to be a Facebook friend, will you accept? So again, I would like to answer to relate. This is not just to a doctor. I have in surgery, we have this view that when we manage patients, it's a team approach. So remember, it's not just a doctor who has a patient. You may be an OR nurse, and we have a hand in the care of the patient, and the patient is also a patient. And whoever you are, the staff. You have to be involved in the management of the patient. Again, you have the trust for the patient. And now the question again is that on Facebook for me, personally, it's been to a point, it has evolved to a point that I really have to separate Facebook account, my personal account, and my professional account. Because, again, as pointed out, the internet of things is a digital age. I think there's no such thing as privacy. And the medical profession, the healthcare profession, is what are all about. Privacy is a very important issue, especially when you're dealing with a patient. Whether it is indirectly or directly, you have the trust. You are bound, you're obliged to hold the trust, as a primary concern. So when the patient actually the dealing first, and this is kind of tiring, and it takes time to do it. But I have to refuse and I say, no, I cannot accept you as a patient. If you want to friend me because you need some guy actually wants to do, you can actually message me, and then I can direct you to a person or to verifiable people who can help you. But it's friendly because it's not. And the other thing that has evolved is let them understand, and it's part of our responsibility to educate people, or especially the patient, that denying them as friends doesn't mean that I respect you. And sometimes we do that Facebook as this, because we so many patients request for friends. We don't friends. We don't accept our patients as friends. We refer them to a forum, to a page that's for okay, so again for me, I don't accept friends. And if they are already my friends, I already tell them when they consult me. Once you consult me, you are my patient. You enter into a contract. I be involved directly with your care. I have to unfriend you. It's the reality. It's either you want me as your doctor. That's it. That's the reality of what we have in social media. And that's very hard, even for the doctors, because we're very social, and PT is a very social, but you have to decide at some point in time, because the mix-up is very harrowing to handle. Okay? So my answer would be no, and if they are already your friends, and they became your patient, I have to unfriend. But you have to tell them why. Because they deserve a reason. We have to also educate the patient. Right? Thank you. I can just imagine a doctor, a patient friend and a patient, so that means the patient can see like when they're going on a holiday. Yeah. I remember in first year, we had this, I don't know what's up, ethics siguro, about the doctor patient and other medical students here, but we were talking about the doctor patient relationship. Now, if indeed the doctor accepts a patient as a Facebook friend, would it complicate the doctor-patient relationship? Like, what ethical principles apply in this case?
Okay, it's very, as a doctor, it's very alluring that your patient will invite you as a friend. It's very tempting. Number one, as a doctor, you might be tempted and you'll say, well, it's good. I'll be doing these activities. Perhaps I'll be able to manage her well because I know she's doing this and that. But you have to remember, listen, is that really the intention of the patient? You have to think that way. You have to put yourself in the shoes of the patient. And you have to examine why it is that she wants to make friends with you. It's very alluring. Number two, you might not want to lose the patient, right? So okay na lang, accept it. You might, I don't want to lose my patient. But hey, there are always very important ways of not losing that patient, but still not friending them and Facebook. As what Dr. Reno said, there is always a personal way of telling them why not, and they will surely understand. Another one, you might be tempted to say, okay na lang, because you feel elated. Imagine, my relationship is supposed to be a therapeutic relationship. The patient-physician relationship is a therapeutic one, meaning I'll be able to manage my patient well together with the other team. She wants me to be my friend. Okay, meaning to say, You are opening yourself beyond boundaries. Okay? You might feel elated because the patient would want a relationship beyond therapeutic relationship, but be careful. There are boundaries that you have to share. Why? Will you be happy that your patient will see you attending bars? You're supposed to be friends now. Will you be happy that your patient will stay dancing also with beautiful women, beautiful girls? Of course, the objectivity of management might be marred, okay? And the objectivity of the patient as far as his relationship with you might also be affected. So it's not nice to accept friends of patients if they have become not patients already. Remember, it's always a therapeutic relationship that you want with your patient. You can be friends, because in a therapeutic relationship, there is always one-to-one communication and how to manage her case, but it's never via social media where it's
some of the patients have the tendency to make your patient friend because I think they want to ask you questions, like they want to have a consult with you. Like, if there was this consult, like attorney, and the physician is good if something goes wrong, like the physician gave an advice on Facebook because the patient is asking something regarding his health, and then something goes wrong, and that the physician is good for interest and diagnosis. But I think the question that we have to address somehow is whether or not it's really easy to befriend a patient. But it's like asking whether a client can be a friend to a lawyer. But, for me, I'm an advocate of social media. I would say that social media is just like reality. And the reality is, your patients are also your friends. Okay, but however, you should be cautious because somehow if the patient was friends, more effective for you. They know that you don't just have a friendly obligation, but rather what you have is more than that. You have a patient sharing relationship between you and that patient. Yes, probably she is your patient friend, but you should observe something more than being friends. That is a patient sharing relationship, doctor patient, health provider, not call it health provider, because it might be yes, it might be that you are not a doctor, you're a nurse or healthcare provider, and the patient relationship. It's like asking like if lawyers can be friends with judges. Maybe there's no prohibition. There's no prohibition. It's basically because because there is no issue of ethics. However, ethics, for example, in legal ethics, although I should say that legal ethics in the Philippines is again outpaced by technology. But in the US, for example, the American Ethics Society, American Legal Ethics Society, it was very example that this is your responsibility to be updated with technology. Not just because they are advantageous, but for you to be aware of its disadvantages and how to manage that with advantages. If you will be presentation, please know what are the situations and be able to manage those communications. That's why I heard, for example, if you pay a clinic or if you are working for a certain medical facility, there should be in your employment or in your whatever, in your policy, the rules and regulations. There should be a social media policy embedded in that being employer whatever. There should be something like that in your contract or in your code of conduct on that facility. Right now, I don't know if most of the facility people who are updated with that, but that should be in there. Why? Because hospitals can also be responsibility is supposed to be full. One, the research of the doctrine of corporate responsibility. We have a lot of cases of that. A fault of a certain practitioner or a staff or a worker of the hospital can be attributed in the hospital. So the hospital is actually engaged in that business and they are in the hospital. So we call that corporate responsibility. Doctrine of corporate responsibility. Okay, study in the hospital. This hospital. It can be attributed to the hospital. Because sometimes lawyers go for these guys.
I like to share with you that I'm a follower of Kevin Cole. Kevin Cole, MD. He's an internist and he practices primarily here in the U.S. What he is advising, because I follow him on a daily basis in his Twitter account and his blog, and as well as in his Facebook account, what he is advising is that a physician should maintain two accounts. One is a personal account, and the other one is a professional account. I use Facebook, and I go to his professional account, and I learn a lot of all the links that are placed there, of all the issues that we talked about. And that is the safest way to do it. But I am not a Facebook friend in his personal account. And I don't think he accepts me, he doesn't know me. But I follow him in his Twitter account as well as in his professional Facebook account. We hope that this is something moving. Thank you for such a very known person in social media, one of the original advocates of social media as a physician.
I'll give you a little bit of advice on how to do this. Facebook provides this page. This page don't require that those who are followers should be your friends. So rather than creating an account, a personal account, if you become a doctor, for example, then that's under your page. Page can be your patient. I think you have to then, by maintaining a page, you also can read the patient as well. You can go to the journal. We sometimes, especially for lawyers, if you have lawyers, if you wanted to go to Facebook, why? It's not a network. To get clients, probably, I don't know with doctors, probably also you can get places out of that. But rather than having an account and spreading that, why not take a page? The page, there's really no responsibility or time. It's a page. Again, I think I want to just point out that this is not against the doctors. We're dealing with healthcare providers. I think I had encountered several people mentioning how about us nurses, how about us allied medical professionals. Does that stand the relationship between the doctor and the patient applies to us? Again, the concept is evolving. And if you think about managing a patient as a healthcare team, because you're part of a healthcare team, there's the institution, there's allied medical profession, there's the medical profession, all sorts of people directly or indirectly managing the patient. You are part of the healthcare provider. Ergo, when you go to social media, you have that part of responsibility. And so, the advice between that and social media, it will come to a point in time that you will realize if what you're saying on your personal account is go to so many people you don't have any control. And when it comes to a point like that, you can never delete anything you want to post on internet, even if you delete your internet post. It's there. And for who knows, technology will evolve the next 1 year. And the playing field will be different. We have a law. And it could be traced. So then the point naman na we have to try to separate your profession. If you can't get to accounts or to professional accounts, you must at least moderate what you post on social media. The first question, I think does this affect my work and patient that I am? And the first question, even if you're just posting like, the use of OR, it's not just, because I've also encountered some healthcare professionals who are posting photos in social media to convey to other members of the team. You know. And I warned them that it is a very, very dangerous way of sharing. The patient doesn't know. So, ang dami nila for in the virus. But besides that, the most important thing is providing the trust that the patient needs the health. And that would also prejudice to the institutional quality of the hospital that we're trying to. And then the second thing is, of course, employment status. And you might be aware of the so many social media viral news about, healthcare professionals employing someone who were kicked out of the because basically just posting what the hand, the organ, the patient, or they were involved in a picture that nobody it's not them or who took it, but they were the ones identifying them. So even that is like you're still partly considered liable. So kaya nakikita nyo OR and sabi na currently kanina identifiable. Of course, they can identify that. With the internet, with the Google search, it will take you a day to identify from which hospital from which. With the social media network that I have, with the doctor friends that I have, it won't take a day to identify. Even if you won't put anything on it, we identify it. So I'm sure you know how easy that. I remember seeing a Facebook video of a person who knows everything about that person, and there was just like, how come you were able to know about now? Just the social media. They were able to discover everything. Where you go, anyway, so basically, we're like Spider-Man, but great power comes great responsibility. Like, the healthcare professionals, I think you would have we should be the healthcare professionals. You were mentioning about this, but this third is about next slide. There's this co-workers in the same hospital talking about their patient and patient. And so you have seen it also in your field that, for example, this certain healthcare professionals, the name was really toxic, that the lower wage part, the one who the patient, the police person. I mean, the one who wrote ABC was the 22 years old, who was so young, person, company, even younger. Although this morning something decided for a dinner, it was really busy day. We're talking, and then someone even put 23-year-old. It's like a diary. It's like a diary with much detail. So my question is, if we take violation, or even if it's just a group, a Facebook group, or it's not even a public setting. So it's a violation of patient privacy. Confidentiality is an example. There is a question. It's like, you have this locker room doors. The things, the stuff that we're supposed to just talk about with the colleagues when we're directly with the patient. Again, my idea, of course, during the first time that we were socially, I too have been guilty of the things that I do. I didn't know that these things, the technology has that power to share this information. You could get lost in the maze of control who get to see what was supposed to be. So during the actually most of the time before, and that has to be community. Now, the question about this, talking about some sort of a locker process, and really, this is what the two are talking online. They're not already, they're not already at work, so complicate more the issue. I'm not already at work. I'm talking to my friend. But we're talking about again a patient. And it's easy for me, as friends, I know where you work. I can easily identify that patient. So again, it goes back to the point. Because the healthcare provider has to very big responsibility. Once the responsibility or the trust is given to you and you are directly involved, you are bound not to tell anyone, identifiable or not, the patient, anyone. Not to you are bound to have that trust or blind actually. So whatever comes, the community channel, and with so many people, and with social media, so many people that can do this. Only one can identify who already, in my opinion, is already reaching that kind of time. That's the responsibility, that the awareness that we should employ whenever we talk about something. And it's not good talking about these things when you are like OCD, you're blurting out your high emotions, because these are the kinds of quotes that you will have to do before you relate.
I will have to go back also to the principle of the beneficent, doing good, and non-beneficent, avoiding harm. Remember, when you do something, you have to ask yourself, is this action intrinsically good? You have to ask yourself, he's talking about a patient online, ranting about a patient online. It's good to ask yourself. If you think it's not good, then you stop it. If you feel there might be some use to it, then you go to another part. You ask yourself, wow, what's my intention? If my intention is only to tell the nurses and the media, I'm so busy on this day that you are not busy, you're not toxic, I should be paid more, then your intentions are also wrong. Number three, if there are two effects, the bad one and the good one, then you ask yourself, if there are good effects, I suppose it's not the new chapter. Everything becomes so unethical. So reminder, for everything that you do, for every act that you do, you have to start with, if this act intrinsically good? Number two, what is my intention? Number three, what are the unforeseen effects that will come out from this act? If everything is negative, then that's unethical.
Do we have we have guidelines. We have guidelines regarding how to. In the Philippines, we have guidelines or laws even governing it about about that. Okay, that's probably guidelines. We have somehow, yes, we do have, not the PNA has this code of ethics. Okay. But unfortunately for the Philippines, our guidelines, the laws are rather general or something very specific. So there's really no code where you can look into such that in all different scenarios and cases. Rather, a lot is general, but we base it on the municipal code, the environmental code, or the constitution itself, or very specific, for example, in this disclosure, or healthy, or doctors treating a new child, for example, they're required to disclose that to be a WP or to the local government student. And so these are very specific laws. The council of deals with everything. So unlike HIAA, for example, where it deals with everything. So we don't have a catch-all provision or a catch-all enactment for these guidelines. So you have to study. You have to study everything. Sometimes even the guidelines are also found in the decisions of our court. That's why exactly the reason why I brought one of the decisions, the latest decision, particularly about Facebook now, because this is something new. This is a milestone for Facebook continues for like 2008, but it's only 2014 that we have a decision of the Supreme Court that talks about Facebook. That's about that. Yeah, this is the case. And also, the professor in me, I'm also a professor in law school. The professor in me is what is the biggest problem? What is these are doctors? And the doctors, for example, they're members of a certain thread or a certain group of Facebook, and then people tell each other about the problem that they're just starting to get academically, and know how to go about it, how to treat or to diagnose. This is unethical. Is that how do you call it? Would that be a breach of confidentiality of the health provider and the patient relationship?
There is a pure social media only for doctors. There is Doctinity and there is Thermo. It's purely for doctors, but it's only with MAS. And because they are doing it for purposes, okay, of academics, then, and it's not open to their friends in Facebook. And nobody who is not a doctor, I think, can be consigned in or can lock in to the city or sermon. Then, I don't think there is bridge, because I guess the doctor can always talk about patients, because it's a team. Treating a patient is now a team effort. And besides, these two social media sites are not open to the public, and nobody knows about it. But I wonder if there is such a social media site, which is limited to doctors and the Philippines. And I don't think there is. Not so far.
Yeah, we should have one. We have, what do you think? Do you think we should have a similar knowledge HIAA here in the Philippines? If we want to have that, how do we go about it? How do we go about the process of having? But I want to use the thing that we have as a framework for the guidelines or the policy. Remember that the technology is very much or taxable, and I think that HIPAA was created sometime like 1998, something like that. And it's a framework, it's like based on a foundation of where you can judge or where can you put yourself when you're faced with a dilemma when technology is evolving. So the tenets are the same, even if the technology is evolving, although it has some fixed already. But again, the basic tenets are the same, and you have a basis for every dilemma that you face whenever technology comes in. Before, they had a problem with email, even SMS. Now, there are problems with social media. But the treatment is still the same. And I think the guidelines that developed in order to help the healthcare practitioners go through this dilemma and answer them and do what exactly or what guide in what to do when they face the kind of dilemma. Now, so the other thing that I need to point out again in terms of yung sinabi kanina, I forgot the addition. In addition to yung, okay, in coming up with the guidelines, again, yung guidelines, there's a fear among the social media practitioners, especially the healthcare professionals, that as much as the explosion of social media and explosion of the technology, you are actually trying to limit the use for healthcare providers. Because it's because of these things, of privacy, confidentiality, etc. So why are we using it? Are being used it? So don't get the impression that you're trying to limit it. It's actually enhancing it so that people would be able, or the healthcare providers would be able to spread this dilemma on their own. And confidentiality and privacy is just one aspect. So maybe today our problem is social media. Who knows? Like here, we're not going to social media or machines, and we're applying again the basic principle that we're using practicing. So as we foresee again in other forums, we still kind of evolve. We will be dealing with patients that are being dealt with by robots, and we're going to be responsible for that robot that is here. And these are emerging technologies that is trying to do that kind of guidelines for the guidelines or the guidelines in the Philippines. So, yeah, when we set the laws or we set the policies that we also forward. Again, the guidelines should be just a basic thing and we guide the healthcare provider as they track in the evolution of technology. That's just what we do. So, you know what, when I researched about the topic, I wasn't trying to do this topic. It leads me to, of course, the health insurance capability of the health facility act of the United States. And when I go through about it, it's really nice. No? And I was wondering as well if we have the same law or we have the same law. That means me, I always do long-standing theory, and that is theory that the patient bill of rights. It has been there for a while, no? And you know what? It's been blocked, and the reason for the blockage is quite clear. One, first, before, it's unnecessary because as I mentioned earlier, we have laws. The problem with our laws, though, is it's scattered. It's not contained in one document. At the time, there's already a code of ethics being adopted by the healthcare professionals. Second is that, when you have this bill of rights for patients, for example, we have to look into everything about confidentiality. And this includes the last degree of your cabinet. Okay? And that means what? That means extra expense. For example, that means extra security on your EMR. You know what EMR is? It's medical records. Extra security, and you purchase security for your computer, for example, at another expense. So who will eventually shoulder the expense? The patient. So this is not a patient bill right there, but rather a patient bill. And third, of course, we have to look into our own. Of course, it's very much into the bug. So, the reason is we undermine the mentality anyway. So that's what our law is saying. That's why it's there for a while. We wanted it to be something active, but we're there for a while. The patient bill of rights. It should have codified everything. It's very difficult if ever you want. Not difficult, but it is probably easier to tell. Questions from the audience or from Twitter? We have questions from Twitter or questions from the audience? From the audience. Don't be afraid, you're not being quoted or what. Or you would quote you. It's a public forum. Yes, yes, there's a prize. Yes, there's a prize for asking Okay, thank you very much. I think for the project where I'll be talking later now. We're talking about confidentiality and privacy. I represent the persons living with HIV here in the Philippines, and we're talking about HIV now. When we talk about patients, we talk about quality, improving the quality. So we have to consider when we post anything, we have to consider the lives of the patients that we're taking care of. No? If we keep on posting things, and we out of, let's say, out of fun or something, we think of the patients first. In the HIV community, people die. There are lots of kids who commit suicide because of cyberbullying. We had a client before who his doctor took a picture of his patient. And eventually, intentionally, there were bottles of the ARVs on the bed. Okay? And then it was captured in Facebook, and the young kid was bullied in his school, among his friends, and he committed suicide. So, it's a big thing thinking about Pinoy, laying away. And we found one monument, there was this unfinished structure of the building behind the monument. And it became viral. They never thought about Pinoy later. They talked about the building, unconstructed building. It's a big thing. When we post something, sometimes unintentional or intentional, it triggers an activity in the social media. So we have to be careful. So we have to always think about the implications to our patients. Some doctors, some health professionals really focus about opportunistic infections. Then we have to consider those young kids and left rights before who committed suicide on the West. And second, I think that was the state comment. And second, so talking about that, cyberbullying, what we're talking about. So we keep on posting things, and our clients might be cyberbullying, and there are laws for that. When it comes to HIV and AIDS, there is a strong law behind the HIV and AIDS. And it protects the person living with HIV for them to protect their rights and their privacy. So unfortunately, there's still some doctors posting and like what I said, intentional and unintentional. Pictures or and and then sometimes the rights are trampled on of people. We were saying that sorry. So, from the point of view of the patient, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. Any other questions about this? Are you?
Good morning, everyone. I am Margaret from Untitled Chapter. I am a nurse, and would like to have a question. I would like to ask Dr. Emma a question. So you told me that 59 patient-centered breast jobs, right? So would it be more appropriate that you have a face-to-face case where you have your professional information there where they can contact you? It's like what do you call this? TV online. So it will be under your Facebook account, so you will manage it. However, your patients will only see that professional information on their website, and they will have no connection, or they will have no access to your personal Facebook. Wouldn't that be more appropriate? Like instead of denying a patient request, would it be more appropriate that if you message them and you just send them to your webpage? Because it is very positive if the patient would like to add the consent and because it's really hard to find a doctor we can be comfortable with. And it's just shows how much you're trusting and how much they're ignoring and it's really hard to find a new doctor.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. So, I just went further then. Because these patients that wanted to return me actually nandun na sila sa nag-line na sila sa Facebook. So, they don't take it. Sometimes, I think the point there, you make a conscious effort about maintaining a professionalism online, offline, especially online. Okay, so what I tell them is if you want the information that they share or response, so you can probably go to my page. The only way you can see it is relax again, and then they post questions there or they can see that. So again, yeah, the first thing you can directly to your page, if you have a professional, you have an online TV there. This one would be anything area. And of course, sometimes the questions are not related to my expertise at all. I refer them to verifiable or trusted sites for information. That's the other thing. The more important thing is when you say no, and you will be interested, you have also to tell the patient why. Why are you redirecting me? Is it a sign that you are rejecting me? It's not a form of rejection, it's just I'm providing you verified. Because online, even if they ask you, don't understand, it's not anymore my specialty. I'm not an expert in that area. Because I cannot answer.
But I think it's more accessible to redirect rather than
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Effort to respond to all, because we have a lot of patients already on that. And to help you with that, if you have struggling with a lot of problems with managing or recruiting professional business online, you hire a lot of social managers so that you can maintain from that. So social media managers, there are a lot of them, you can hire them and communicate on what you'd like to present and how you'd like to see you online and things like that.
Yeah. The other thing, I wanted to point out, yeah, it's a good suggestion. But I think the responsibility is the healthcare provider that needs to be actively, consciously maintain professionalism online. But it's a continuous process. Because, of course, I can endorse it to a social media manager. Sometimes, it's like a secretary when you get mag-aaway kayo, post nyo doon. So, again, it's a conscious effort. It's not easy, but that's your profession. You're a nurse, that's my profession. And you are obligated, you're actually responsible. You make a conscious effort to protect your profession. Not all times, that's what Dr. Boy said earlier. Maintain your professionalism at all times. So, social media doesn't exclude you to that. So, I think Anya had a caveat. Yeah, you can hire, but they don't. You can also somehow oblige to comply with that confidentiality legislation because for all you know, they might not really, there's already an example that you have, in an action of those information because patients might start sharing in the sort of sharing that information about them. responsibility comes.
Thank you. Thank you for your answer.
We have one more, two more. Yes, sir. So, good morning everyone. I'm Richard Lucian, actually affiliated with Veteran College and also the University of Science Graduate School and one of the hospitals here in the city. Actually, the institution which I'm affiliated with right now are still in the process of developing our own ethics review committee. So my concern is this: in the context of health research conduct, what can you recommend for institutions if ethics committee are not available? Do you have any suggestions to whom we can seek ERC approval concerning students and residents research so that privacy and confidentiality are assured somewhere in the area? You're lucky you have two and research people here, so that's a good.
Your question, you're asking if you can direct to social media. Your question, you're asking if you can direct your question to social media, or you're asking us where did we refer you to?
It's possible that.
Okay. Of course, the different national institutions as well as medical schools, different parts of the book, have their own ethics review committee. Number one, if you'd like to ask for a review on your research, you can have a memorandum of agreement between this institution. And I suppose they'll decide, it depends on the definition of their institution. Number two, we're lucky in our research, not specialists here of the same topic, more of a medical center. I don't know what state, therefore the stand of a government hospital doing an ethics review of a student or a researcher coming from another institution. Dr. Buko, you can answer that. Because if that's not social media, then it's also very applicable because she's asking the question.
But I've been talking later about social media and research in country. I will mention some of that. Actually, it's not social media. That's why. But to answer the question, you can actually ask me. The answer is that because it's actually asking who to go to. We don't have an ethical board yet, but our policy we are looking in. Related to ethics and research ethics. So I'm saying we have the students for research and we can go to that's the answer. Actually, I think I already had an informal or meeting with some of those numbers of the research committee, but unfortunately some of them didn't address my concern because they're also busy in their own institutions. So if otherwise we could also have any other organization which is referred to our concern. So I think it is really important for even for the undergraduate also undergo ethical review to ensure privacy and confidentiality. Because we are also having students or our patients with our subject respondents of our own. Let's talk about that in Thank you. There's another question here. I really question or comment. I think the panel has exhausted all possible cases of friendly patients. How about letting patients follow you? This is the main connection in Twitter, but it's also available in Facebook. Right? The thing is, it's much easier to explain to a patient why you can't friend him. It would seem too much if you will not allow a patient to follow you. Moreover, Twitter can be used as an announcement platform that can be very useful, for example, in terms of events. But then again, your followers will be able to see your bar image photos unless you are really savvy with your settings. and vigilant with photos letting your friends tag you. Thank you very much for this. Now, we want to. Okay, again, what is important is the situation of again. You have to be very conscious of what you're doing. Whatever the platform is. And yun nga, no? As I evolved, personally, I started with, daming na post na siguro at later point, wish natin. But as you go through the years, na nagkakaroon ng involvement in social media, when we post, ang assumption natin palagi is the public space. Whether there is a setting, and that's why we have to be, as part of that continuous obligation and the use of social media, you have to be knowledgeable about the setting, especially with the privacy. You have to be very knowledgeable about that, to be able to protect, and to be able to carry out that obligation of protecting your data. So, when you post, you have to make sure, and in privacy, the followers can follow you because you have a public post. Remember, when you do a public post, it has to be one. It has not go outside the bounds of your professionalism. Of course, they can follow you, but again, the post that you're putting from the privacy rules is very, very different from the ones that are posting in a very private setting. So again, it's okay to follow. Sometimes these people will follow you after the message. Again, pwede bang doktor yung maging konsulta. So again, you have to explain to them. It's very, very easy, but you have to explain. And that's how you get people to go to your side. Okay? So you okay lang, follow. And the responsibility is again, be very conscious of what you're posting in a public space. Again, the teacher point that you have to be mindful responsibility that lies ahead. But the unfriending or accepting plans or public, these are good one. Last question.
I'd like to share with you a very important way. My reading is that allow your breast to be closed, others not so close. Hello, Doctor. This question is not because I want to get the doctor. But I was really thinking of this a while ago. It has become very common, especially in blogs, not only blogs, even in notes and Facebook. If there will be relatives on behalf of the patient who will be posting a very bad patient experience. So of course we will divulge some information, blah blah blah. So in that kind of situation, will it still violate patient privacy, or especially if the intention is to warn people, quote unquote, because of this experience or medical experience? What do you think?
The relative that is posting campaign here, so most likely the patient has already successful to that. So I would assume that is maybe in favor of confidentiality. However, rather look at the problem in the doctor's point of view, we probably rely on that post. That could be the other side of life.
Hello, good morning. I'm Second Class from JM.
My question is that as an aspiring doctor and a creative writer, it's unavoidable that we speak inspiration from our personal experiences, and sometimes this may include events from our in the hospital or from our experiences with the patient. So my question is, how can I present such information without violating patient confidentiality? To what extent can I, like, so even if like I'm just describing an event,
Okay, giving a hypothetical problem, so you cannot really look into it holistically, but okay, how an explanation? The easiest way is to get the consent. Okay, you get the consent and the witness, and out of that consent, probably you can discuss how we be able to provide information. Like, for example, does he agree if it has been safe or not, or whatever. So, until you talk about it. And then eventually, you have to disclose your intention as well. For example, if this is for academic purposes, the patient will understand, because eventually you can write up results with probably the body outside. So, that's right. So, first you get a consent. With consent, you get a wait for. Then probably have to do it out as you said, say the driving. Very specific, you're a medical student, right? Okay. And you're saying that in the process of learning, you wanted to get some inspiration and get patient stories. These patient stories, you want to learn from patient stories, and you want to focus on whatever platform that you want to. Again, you go back to the earlier point of medical doctor here. In terms of for the what benefit, that's the first question you have to ask. What do you try to do first? And if you have resolved the question, you go to the patient. Again, consent. Because you have the power, the patient also has the power. In this case, for whatever reason that you're trying to do it, you have to ask for consent and at least involve the patient. If the consent is not given, there's no point, or there's actually you are solicited to doing that. If there's a consent, again, you go back to the benefit and the no benefits at all. For potential again, for one case that you have so many knowledge and power, it's a no-no. It is but if you want to learn, there are other forums that are for learning purposes, one social media, and you can join that. And the consent of the patient, you can share it being conscious about not really identifying the information that is not necessary for the learning that you wanted to see. I'm really sorry that was Richard's time. We would like to, if you have questions, you can reach to us using the hashtag #1SK, hashtag SCSSTV. So that maybe you could try to answer these questions also even after the example. So at this point, we would like to say, I see finally, we really appreciate the sharing of your time. Terminology, right? Terminology. With that, you end this session you learned a lot from session. Lunch will learn outside, but after eating lunch, You see the other side for that memory. You will have our lunch also on the other side. Para may get to that. It's a working lunch. So the preliminary will also start right away. So you have your lunch on the other side. And for others, also there's a wonderful meeting until 1 o'clock. After pictures taken.
Please show the logo. Yeah, very good. Okay. Guys, okay. 1, 2, 3, smile. Very good. Okay, one more. Okay, compress please.